Say alright, so first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Mekakodash. We say that when apostles and elders agree, but not the ruler or teachers or apostles in shoot, and we say salutations, solely accurate, say push on truth and say din and the out, constantly in season or season, we say shalom. Once again, going into video here, and that's basically touching upon two words, the word reserve and the word preserve, right? Now, this is something that people see. Some people like to say they reserve for the Lord, and they like to say they reserve to be saved, and so forth and so on, and not knowing the meaning of the word reserve, or the context of what it is they being reserved for. It's the same with the word preserve, right? Now, when you look up the word reserve, it's a retain for future use, right? To retain for future use, and that is what many of you all are. You all are being reserved for future use. Future use. That is what all are being reserved for, right? So I'm gonna just go down a little bit again to find its meaning fate. It say right, look at it. Reserve, right? It say you're gonna go back to the old. It say to keep back. You understand? To keep back. To keep. You understand? To reserve, right? Now when they go to now as again, some of earlier are being reserved unto that day of what? Judgment. And some are being preserved. So when you look at the word preserve, it means to what? To keep safe from injury, harm. So this is the meaning of the word preserve, right? Preserve, it said to maintain something in its original or existent state, right? Now when you go down here, it means to keep safe from injury, harm, or destruction. It means to keep safe from injury, harm, or destruction. So the elect will be what? They will be preserved. You understand? They will be preserved. The Lord's chosen will be preserved. But them that are not chosen, them of the two thirds will be what? Reserved. You understand? They're being reserved. Now, I'm going to a little scriptures here. This is the book of 2 Peter. Right? Book of 2 Peter, chapter 3, verse I'll start from verse 5. It says, "For this day when indeed are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished." So the world before, we know that had the great flood. You understand? And with that example, you see some people was reserved and some was preserved. You understand? No one his family, they were preserved. They were what? They were kept safe from the destruction. So they were what? Preserved. It's in this time to come when this place is going to be destroyed by what? By fire, right? There are men, there are people that are going to be what? Preserved, meaning they wouldn't be harmed from that to come. But there are also people that are reserved. Reserved mean that what? That they are what? They are kept back for that. They are reserved for that. You understand? It says, so when you go into the word reserve, it says, what does it mean? It says something reserved or set aside for a particular purpose, use, or reason. You understand? It says something reserved or set aside for a particular purpose, or reserved for a particular purpose, right? This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 7. It says, "But the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire, against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men." So it said this place is reserved, meaning what? It kept in store for what? These people, for it's a fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. Of ungodly men. So they are ungodly people that were what? They reserved to be destroyed with this place, right? But there are people that are being preserved, that harm wouldn't touch them. That destruction wouldn't touch them. Let me jump to a quick scripture here. See if I find it here quick. Just select this, give me a minute here, quick. So let's give a pause here. Right. So as I was saying, to reserve, right? So as the Peter say, let's say Second Ezra chapter I know, sorry, Second Peter chapter 3 verse 7. They say, but the heavens and the earth which are now by the same word are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. So that men reserve unto that for that day, for that fire, right? To be what? To be destroyed. They say what? Something reserved or set aside for a particular purpose, use, or reason. So reserve for that, right? Reserve for that. Now again, when you go to the word preserve, it say what? To keep safe from injury, harm, or destruction. To keep safe from injury, harm, or destruction. So it have people that would be what? It have men that would be what? They would be preserved. Let me just bring a precept here. This is Job chapter 5. I'll go to verse I'm gonna start from verse 19. It say, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in the 7 there shall no evil touch thee. It say, in famine shall he redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. Right? It says, for thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. But it's going back to this thing here. It say what? Let's go back to verse 9. It say, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in the 7 there shall no evil touch you. So being preserved to what? To be it are people that go be what? They will be kept safe from injury or harm or destruction. As it say here, verse 20, it say, in famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. You understand? So they was what? Preserved. They was kept safe from injury, from harm, from destruction, from these things, to be kept alive, and say, right? So going back now to reserved, right? This might be a 2-part series, right? So going back to the word reserved, as you would say, it says some for the famine, some for death, some for the sword. You understand? So that is what being what? That is what being kept reserved. Matter of fact, let me bring that script here. Right. So as I was saying, some reserve. So some would be what? Preserve, and some would be reserved, right? So when they go on, as I said, my brother's precept, this is Jeremiah chapter 15 verse 2. They say, and it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whether shall we go forth, then thou shalt tell them, thus said the Lord, such as are for death, to death, and such as are for the sword, to the sword, and such as are for the famine, to the famine, and such as are for the captivity, to the captivity. So some are being reserved for that, right? I say, and I will appoint over them 4 kinds, said the Lord, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. So some being reserved. They say reserved, to set aside for a particular purpose, right? To set aside for a particular purpose, right? So let's go to our next scripture here now. This is Psalm chapter 37. Psalm chapter 37 verse. Psalm chapter 37 verse 28. It says here, let me read from from verse 16. It say, a little that a righteous man had is better than the riches of many wicked. It say, for the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. So you see in there the reserve and the preserve, right? It said, the Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever, right? It say they shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. So again, going back to the word what? Preserve. It say what? To keep safe from injury, harm, or destruction. So the Lord saying here, they shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. So it says that is being preserved, right? I say, but the wicked shall perish. Now going into what? Reserved. Right? It says, but the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of the lambs, and they shall consume into smoke, shall they consume away. The wicked, right? It said the wicked borrow it and pay it, and not let me jump down a little bit. No. Let me jump to verse 22. It says, for such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. Reserved, preserved, right? It say, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighted in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down. You understand? He shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. Right? Then we jump to verse 28. It says, for the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever. So preserve, to keep safe from injury, harm, or destruction. It can even go up here. It say what? Maintain. It say maintain. So being the preserve is where you want to be. You want to be that maintain from the Lord. You want to be that. You want to be preserved, not reserved for something. Something that reserved unto what? Judgment, right? It say for the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever. They are preserved forever, right? But the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. So if the Lord's saints is preserved, meaning that they will be safe, right? They'll be maintained, right? They'll be kept safe, right? Right? They be kept safe. Say keep safe from harm before in advance. To keep, right? To keep doesn't mean and preserve. To keep, the old English. Now it say here in the last piece of the verse, it say the seed of the wicked shall be what? Cut off. Reserve. Something reserved or set aside for a particular purpose, use, or reason. Right? 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 So you're reserved for that. So the wicked is reserved for a particular reason, to be what? To be judgment, right? But the saints shall be what? They shall be preserved forever. Right? As I said, this could be a part 2, so this could be the first part. The next part will come. So with that, we give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Baal Shem Shai, Baal Shem Kodash. We say that when the apostles and elders agree, most of the ruler, the teachers of apostles in the truth, and we say salutations, so they are coming to push on the truth and say day and day out. Constantly in season and season, we say Shalom.